so be prepared for a good one.
Sioux Falls City head coach Joe DeMeo keyed in on the transitional aspect of this game. Minnesota Aurora already 5 counter-attacking goals this season as we approach the midway point of the USL W campaign. All eyes on the Heartland Division standings entering this fixture. Minnesota finds themselves tied atop the table points-wise with Riverlight FC. Just nipping on their heels behind them with 9 points is Sioux Falls City FC. A huge 3 points on the line in Eagan. We'll head to break. Starters and kick when we return to the Twin Cities. It's Sioux Falls City and Aurora FC on the other side. Back in Eagan, Minnesota, moments away from the opening kick between Sioux Falls City and Aurora FC. The starting 11 now for Minnesota Aurora FC. Head coach Jen Larrett going with a 4-5-1. 4 changes in this 11. Kat Rapp will re-enter the 11 and anchor that midfield with an eye on the transitional game.
Yeah, I'd love to see these opportunities for players. Jen hit on this early in the season. She wants players to get minutes, so this is going to be a great opportunity for more minutes for more players.
For Sioux Falls City and head coach Joe DeMeo, they counter with a 4-3-3. 3 changes. Avery Korshing, the attacking midfielder, shifts to the front, wanting a bit more attacking bite from this offense.
Yeah, I think with Aurora holding so much of possession of the ball, they're going to want to take advantage and expose that space early on in transition.
Jaden Rowe is our center referee. He sounds the whistle, and we are underway in Eagan, Minnesota. This one steered back to Nadia Cooper, getting consecutive starts, her third overall start in 2025. An even 1 goals against average this year for the former Washington State Cougar, as Bielich muscled across the touchline, and that will go out for an Aurora throw. Minnesota in the navy kits, Sioux Falls City in the white with the light blue.
Jake, you can see it early on already. Sioux Falls is going to put a lot of pressure on Aurora's backline players.
That cleared out again. Aurora will have consecutive throw-ins. Minnesota coming in off that win 4-0 against Chicago Dutch Lions in the USL W showcase played in Madison, Wisconsin. Jen Larrick, first-year Aurora coach, said it was a great opportunity to get exposed to a different kind of crowd than what they're used to on the road. Felt like that helped set them up for success going forward, as Aurora inching in forward toward this final third, as Bielich will have another throw.
It can't be understated how important points are on the road. It's a long road trip for the Aurora squad, and it's hard to make those transitions back to back to back, so nice to come back home here.
Mariah Wynn trying to knife inside, and again cleared out. This time it will be a change of possession. Throw in for Sioux Falls City, who, although it goes in the book as a 3-0 win and all 3 points were idle in the most recent match week, did not face RKC Third Coast. That ultimately ruled a forfeit win in favor of Sioux Falls City. They have had 8 days of rest since that win 3-1 against Rochester FC. In a match of this caliber, those many days of rest, Mandy, those can be huge.
It's absolutely vital. You can see already from the first whistle the energy that this team's coming out with to put pressure on the ball. So it can't be understated again, that rest that they're coming off of.
Throw in skipping off the feet of Mariah Wynn. Now transitioning is Aurora, just out of the reach of Ava Westland. Advantage played initially by Jaden Rowe, and now a whistle will bring it to a stoppage. Sioux Falls City will have a free kick. Just 1 set-piece goal this season for Sioux Falls. That came off a corner. Malone lifts this forward, glancing header toward Cooper, who scoops it up off the turf.
One of the things I like from the Aurora defense there is they're keeping their back line high. So even though, you know, Sioux Falls is getting numbers up, it's allowing Nadia to be able to make a decision to come off her line, whether she wants to come and collect that ball or she's expecting her back line to deal with it.
This matchup, as that's a dangerous pass back, looking on this near touchline and trying to find Rami Rapp. It will be a throw in. Westland couldn't corral it in, and a quick throw taken by Sioux Falls City. We mentioned in our broadcast open that Sioux Falls looking for a bit more attacking bite, and early on showing that by utilizing some of that aggressive posture that they have become so accustomed to using under Joe DeMay. He did say coming into this matchup that he is a little more content to not have as much possession as they typically would like. Called it a pick-your-poison style of game against this Aurora team, with how quickly they can get forward on the counter. As that throw looking for Westland.
This is where we're going to talk about this patience from Aurora. So it's picking and choosing those moments that they want to go at Sioux Falls. And it might be highlighting an individual defender they want to go at. It could just be getting numbers and overloading a specific space. So we'll see how Aurora does with being patient and picking their moments.
Twin Cities Orthopedics and Training House, powered by TCO, are proud to be the official sports medicine and performance providers for Minnesota Aurora FC. Together, TCO and Training House are trusted by some of the biggest names in sports, and that brings the same level of care to our athletes. Our Aurora sideline team is led by team physician Dr. Christine Heikus. As this worked up ahead, here's Wynn. Steers this in, tap toward goal, it's in! Tavana, her 5th goal contribution of 2025, striking early and often as Aurora 1-0.
What I really love to see here is transition was something we talked about pre-match. And this is a transitional moment, a little bit of a loose ball. Mariah picks it up, able to get a ball into the box. And what I love is that there are multiple runners making their way across. All it takes is a deflection, and it's in the back of the net. Phenomenal transitional moment from Aurora there.
For the 4th time in 5 matches, Aurora have tallied the opening strike of a contest. Natalie Tavana gets goal number 2. She is having quite the start to the campaign. Now 2 goals, 3 assists this season for the former Big East Offensive Player of the Year at Seton Hall.
One of the things you can start to watch as Aurora's on the ball now is how many players they're getting high up on the Sioux Falls back line. So we'll see if they're able to still find their midfielders, move their midfielders around a little bit, but find access into those higher players.
That left-hand channel has been such an asset for Minnesota over these last now 4 matches. That's their 5th goal scored generated down that left-hand side. Conversely, Sioux Falls, they have struggled on that left flank. 2 goals allowed down the left against Riverlight, 1 against Chicago City Dutch Lions. It continues to bite them.
It's something that you want to pick up on as a coaching staff, as you're watching through some film, as you've kind of talked and done a little bit of scouting. Where are goals being created from? That's a point you want to go and attack it. You want to go again and again and again and force them to have to adjust and make some decisions about how they want to adapt to you.
Westland lays this off to Jelena Zbilic, the Minnesota Golden Gopher, as her pass forward, pinballing around. Worked up ahead, here's Tavana, the recent goal scorer for Aurora. Her pass out wide to Annie Williams, left just a bit flat. Now looking for an emergency clearance is Sioux Falls. Instead, they'll earn a throw in.
We'll see how aggressive Sioux Falls continues to be in transitional moments. After giving up that early goal, it's going to be interesting to see if they continue to want to put high pressure and leave themselves a little bit more susceptible in the back.
Annie Williams taken down. That draws a whistle from Jaden Rowe, and the free kick quickly taken. Joining the attack now is Charlie Boone. Diamond has to cycle this along. No options going forward. This is where Minnesota Aurora so often this season has lulled teams into that false sense of security when they get that cycle game going. As we have another whistle from Jaden Rowe, and that will draw another stoppage.
Yeah, that one just came straight through the back.
Going back to it though, when Aurora is able to get that game going where they're cycling things along the back, that's traditionally when they're able to use those long, wide passes to open up space in the wide areas. As Rami Rapp trying to muscle her way forward, Williams will pick up the pieces. Work to head out wide. Tavana hacking away for it, won't corral it in. It's a throw in for Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls playing with a lot of pace early on. They do cough it up though here at the back. Here's Rapp looking for the cross. It finds its way through.
It's a really hard ball to get back across with any type of pace. All your momentum's going down towards the end line there. So to get your hips around it, it's unfortunate she wasn't able to get one more touch before having to play that.
Rapp going for goal and just missing high. How about this Aurora offense, Mandy? It all starts with the way they're counter-pressing, suffocating Sioux Falls.
Absolutely, and I think that initial goal builds so much confidence early on against an opponent that's very organized. It's demoralizing a bit as the opponent. You still have plenty of time to make up, but you always want to come out even and then going up a goal. So Aurora's definitely playing with more confidence, which has been fun to see so far.
It's always a benefit when you can take teams out of their organized style, but especially when Aurora is able to do it here in this environment, an environment that they are 19-1-1 in all time. Now 82 goals scored at TCO Stadium all time. That lone blemish on the record in the USL W championship final back in 2022 against South Georgia Tormenta, unbeaten in the regular season. As Mariah Wynn goes down, advantage played here for Aurora. Too heavy of a touch there from Westland. Wynn able to block that cross forward out. It does carry him across the touchline. It will be a throw in for Sioux Falls. Now long pass booted up ahead, trying to turn the field. On it now, it's Mullenmeister.
This is where Sioux Falls is going to have to be a little bit more patient. They play a long ball up, fantastic job to get control of it. However, going forward, it's 3v1. Those odds of taking and winning a 3v1 at this level is just not your best situation. So it's just going to have to be a little bit more patient, get numbers forward, allow your team to come forward with you, and then take advantage of those opportunities.
Aurora will have a throw in on this near touchline. It falls to Summer Diamond, making just her second start of 2025. One thing Jen Larrick has been adamant about all season long for Aurora is aiming for that high tilt of field. They've had it so often early on as that's thumped out for a clearance by Yuna Aoki.
And I know that's been a point of emphasis for them, is making sure that they're organized defensively, because it makes you so much more dangerous as an attacking team, which is where you see teams like Sioux Falls giving up possession in front of goal and then Aurora being able to capitalize on it.
Clearance away from Mo Malone, trying to break out from their own end is Sioux Falls. That has been a difficult task in these opening 12 and a half minutes. It has been all Aurora in terms of possession. Now Diamond. Fighting off challenges is Summer Diamond. Given up to Rami Rapp.
I love that they're moving the Sioux Falls defense side to side. They're looking and poking and prodding. They're finding some central entry passes. They're switching the point of attack. Looking to be a little bit more patient to take advantage then of that opening.
Steered out by Sioux Falls. Williams will have a throw. Lobs this one into Tavana. She'll pick the pieces back up for Minnesota. Now a short clearance away from danger by Sioux Falls. It's Westland on it. Has a go. It's blocked away. Now there's a whistle. Foul will go against Aurora, and a free kick for Sioux Falls will wash out the opportunity. Moving teams side to side, though, we've seen Aurora use different schools of thought. In the season opener against Rochester FC, they utilized a lot of those long switching passes over the top. Right now in this contest, they're using the short combination passing. How can moving a team side to side get them out of their rhythm?
It relies on a team staying connected as a cohesive unit. And one of the things that I'm sure Coach Larrick has continued to stress is you want to attack the backside of a defender. That's the space they're trying to protect, so that's the space you want to attack. And so part of that is as you're moving side to side, these shorter passes, they require defenders to have to make quicker decisions. So right now, defenders are getting a little bit uncomfortable, having to make adjustments in real time, as you can see here, and Aurora is able to get numbers around the ball. Now can they counter and get counter pressure on the ball here to slow this Sioux Falls counter attack?
Whipped up ahead, seeking Mullenmeister again. She has been their talisman offensively. Had the brace against Rochester FC, but just out of her reach. And now Charlie Boone looking for options.
What I'm really loving is what you're seeing from Yelena and Annie Williams. You have your outside backs who are actually inverting. So that means they're occupying more of what we call a half space. So they're entering inside to the middle of the field a little bit more and allowing that wide space to your wingers.
Well defended there by Mariah Wynn, able to pick the pocket of Avery Korshing.
Rapp does a really good job to let the ball roll across her body. It opens her hips up. She's able to face forward and attack the opposite side there.
Williams leading the charge for Aurora FC. Tavana now with it. She'll swing this out wide. It's Wynn. Wynn, edge of the area, lifted inside, deflecting around and hacked away by Sioux Falls. Aurora are getting a lot of penetration in toward this final third. That's an area that Joe DeMay had said that if Sioux Falls allows Aurora to do that like they've done so much this season, it will spell danger for Sioux Falls. And that's cleared up and out of play by Sioux Falls City. Not many attacking options going forward right now for Sioux Falls. How can they generate more offensive presence?
Well, part of it is that some of the changes that Coach DeMay may have made and the idea of how much possession Aurora is going to have. So it can be a quick counterattack. So as Aurora is establishing possession for longer periods of time, you get a little bit more comfortable and complacent. So this is a moment that they want to go. But numbers have to get forward quicker in support of the ball.
Here's Mullenmeister looking for the cross. Blocked out. It's a corner one. Joe DeMay lauded the performance of Maya Mullenmeister so far this season. Said she's really grown as a defender, a do-it-all style player for Sioux Falls City. That on display, able to win an early set piece.
This is a good moment for Sioux Falls to kind of reset. They're able to regroup, catch their breath. They've spent a lot of time defending already, and now they're getting an opportunity to look at goal.
One corner goal for this season for Sioux Falls City, as Mo Malone will trigger this in. Malone hits this, back stick, leaping forward is Cooper, and making the grab. A long throw out trying to jumpstart the Aurora attack, and here they come. Trying to turn this upfield was Kat Rapp, took a deflection off the defender.
I love the bravery from Nadia to come out, collect the ball, but not just that moment. It's her awareness to see their caught out numbers are even, so can we quickly distribute and get players going forward? It's just a matter of being able to take care of the ball there and not turn it over as numbers are flying forward.
Despite the 8 goals scored for Sioux Falls, this Sioux Falls coaching staff has made a real commitment to defending. They say it all starts up front with the way their forwards defend. That is where point number 1 of the defensive mindset comes from, as this lifted over the top into an empty space and out. Aurora, though, trying to exploit some spacing in this Sioux Falls back line early on.
Well, Coach DeMay, I love that that's what he came out and said, because realistically, it all is dictated by how you defend up front, because it dictates the decision of the player who's going to make that decision. And so if you're relying only on 4 players, maybe 5, 6 players to do that defensive work, you're going to spend a lot of time defending in front of your own box.
DeMay said coming into this season that they bring so many players back on this year's roster, but one of the areas of emphasis in the offseason was to try to bolster that back line a little bit by bringing in some more newer faces. It's paid off early on, and they have bore the brunt of significant defensive pressure as there's a whistle.
Yeah, when the ball gets caught in the air like that, it can be challenging to control how you want to move your body, but also the ball at the same time. So that's where I think there's the value in getting the ball on the floor and playing with it as quickly as you can, getting it down and at your feet.
You mentioned playing the ball on the floor. We've seen both teams dip into the vertical bag just a little bit, but this has primarily been a first half that has been marked with a lot of consecutive ground passes.
Absolutely. There's a lot more that you can control when the ball is on the floor. The ball's not going to change when it's in the air, so defenders can adjust a lot more quickly, and that's actually one of those cues that typically, if you have a long flighted pass that's in the air, nothing about the ball is going to change. So defensively, that gives you a really good opportunity to shift and adjust and close the gaps as the ball travels.
Hydrate with the
Camber Hayes sees no options going ahead, guides this back to Nadia Cooper. Former Pac-12 freshman and goalkeeper of the year is Nadia Cooper. On it in the midfield is Sioux Falls. That possession short-lived.
One of the things you'll continue to see, and I think Annie Williams has done a phenomenal job right now, she's communicating what she wants the player in front of her to do, how she wants her to occupy space. And I know that Aurora had a very fortunate opportunity to go and visit the U.S. Women's National Team training, and obviously they went and watched the game as well. But one of the things that stood out to, I think, a lot of the players was just the intensity of the play, yes, but also the communication from every single player on the field.
Campbell Fisher getting the starting goal for Sioux Falls City, distributes it out. Aurora still showing that aggressive posture that we've seen all first half. Quick lift over the top. Pouncing on it is Bielich. Under duress now is Aurora. This has turned into a fantastic tactical chess match between two teams who are like-minded in a lot of sense. The way they like to press, the way they like to hold onto the ball. Mandy, put your coaching cap on for us. When you are a coach, and table that for a second because Sioux Falls is back on it now, thanks to that aforementioned high press. This cross uncorked. Now shot sent toward Cooper, who sprawls on it and will make the save. Third shot of this first half for Sioux Falls, first finding its way on target. Going back to it, though, toss your coaching cap on for us for a second, because if you're a team that's going against almost a mirror image reflection of yourself, how do you break that team down?
You know, I think that's a really fascinating question, and actually matchups that are really hard, because you want to find, okay, what is our strength? And like, I used to think about it in terms of like, okay, we're playing a team that's like us. Okay, how do I want teams not to attack me? Because that's how I'm going to go attack the opposition, because that's, again, a mirror image. So realistically, it's where our strengths, where are we susceptible? We're going to attack those weaknesses, but then also be cognizant of the idea of, hey, there are certain things that we need to maybe shift and adjust just slightly, whether that be a player, whether there might be certain space, another go at goal there. But it's really kind of just looking at how do we see ourselves as a team, where are our weaknesses and our strengths, and then going after those.
Natalie Tavano with that shot for Aurora. She has been instant offense in this first half in front of this loud and proud crowd at TCO Stadium. And no, that was not an intentional rhyme. It just kind of came together as I was saying the words.
Worked out well for you.
I'm a poet, and I didn't know it. Play back underway.
You know, going back to your question, though, I think you can see one of the changes that Coach Larrick has made a little bit is how do you get more players involved into the midfield? And that's part of where those outside backs coming inside helps overload Sioux Falls midfielders. So it becomes a numbers problem. And that forces Sioux Falls to have to make some really hard decisions.
One of those players in Annie Williams really shifting high up the pitch. Bielich now looking for options. Finding a gap on this right side. It's Rami Rapp. Her cross falling through the other side. Wynn trying to take the touch. That's a well-timed challenge applied. But Wynn back on it. Angling toward the byline.
She's going to get that advantage there just on the outside of the box.
Center referee Jaden Rowe sounds the whistle, and Aurora will have a free kick from a sharp angle. What makes set pieces like this so tough?
Well, defensively, this one's a little bit, you're going to treat it more like a corner to a certain extent. Just because of the angle where the ball's coming in, you're not really necessarily worried about a ball whipping in on the back post. It's something you always have to be aware about as a goalkeeper, and you never want to get beat front post, which is why you have the first player standing out there. They're going to help protect that near post. But right now it's going to be more of a short corner, so we'll see how Aurora wants to attack it, but I would expect it's going to be played in towards the top of the six.
One free kick goal for Bielich. Lifts this in, headed toward goal, and over the bar and out. Again, Natalie Tavana getting in on the offensive attack for Aurora. Her third shot of this first half. She has the difference maker so far. Her second goal of 2025, standing the difference to this juncture. Glancing header on, thumped away by Camber Hayes. Now nodded back down by Tavana. Aurora, I should say, already back on it.
I don't mind this for Mariah. I wish she almost would have played back there. I love the idea that she slowed the game down a little bit. It's okay. Sioux Falls is already organized, so it's not really we're in a rush. And this is part of that patience portion that Coach Larrick hinted at, is we really want to make sure that we're choosing the moments that we want to go forward.
Spilich has the throw. It finds Mariah Wynn. Aurora pinned deep in that corner, now hacked out of play by Sioux Falls City. It will be another throw in for Aurora FC. Long throw again, finds Westland. Westland battling in there, able to keep the pressure on at the moment for Minnesota. Diamond lays it back off. Here's Westland. Slices in, centers, Tavana, roll toward goal, just flicking wide.
Oh, that's phenomenal awareness from Ava Westland. She not only just plays the ball in, but she picks her head up and takes a moment. That is one of the hardest things to do as a player in front of goal, is to change your decision in that moment for something better.
Williams steps up, applies the pressure. Now Williams goes down, that will draw a whistle, and Aurora will have yet another free kick. They are planting their flag in this end of things, and they have done it since the opening kickoff.
It's really been the pace and the intensity in which Aurora's been moving the ball. It's been very, very clean. Not many errant passes, but passes that have the weight that you need to have. It requires a touch if it needs to be on one or two. Sioux Falls just needs to take a moment and enjoy the ball. They need to feel the ball at their feet in order to get forward a little bit here.
Williams lifts this, back post, flick back in front, deflecting around, cleared away.
Oh, Jake, you could not ask for a better ball to the back post. That was sensational and delicious.
These crosses from Aurora are really causing a litany of issues right now defensively for Sioux Falls. Rapp tries to nudge it back toward goal, and Sioux Falls City will finally settle on it for a moment before clearing it out of play. Aurora aiming for that high tilt of field, aiming to suffocate teams in their own end of things. Both of those boxes in these first almost 29 minutes have been ticked in favor of Jen Larrick's side. They are keeping the pressure on and doing it by being patient.
Absolutely, and this is going to be the test now, is can you continue with that? There's going to be moments that, yes, there's going to be opportunities for Sioux Falls, but overall, can you continue to apply that initial pressure, because that has been key for every moment that you've lost possession. You have bodies around the ball to win it back and go again.
Spilich down this left-hand side. Now Wynn lifts this. Tavana deflects it toward goal. Kat Rapp goes down for Minnesota, who maintains the possession. Now Spilich cutting to her inside. Kat Rapp very gingerly walking back up the pitch. Here's Spilich on it now. Options all around. Westland gives it up out wide. Telegraphed pass intercepted. As good as Sioux Falls have been transitioning from defense to offense, Aurora utilizing a lot of congestion in that midfield and just not allowing Sioux Falls to get out on the counter.
Absolutely, and part of what I think you're seeing a lot of is how Aurora plays with the ball makes them more dangerous as a defensive team because they're making themselves predictable to their teammates. And so in those transition moments, you know the closest player to the ball and what their responsibility is, and then you know that second player has your back in providing that cover. So they've done a really good job just knowing what their assignment more or less is. That's probably not the best way to phrase that, but in that moment, what their responsibility is and how to react to the situation.
Williams steps inside. Giving up to Zbilic. It's so interesting, Aurora plucking a page out of the playbook of what they saw against RKC Third Coast, who utilized midfield congestion to stymie the Aurora counterattack. Now, eventually it did get going in that 4-1 win. Here is Mariah Wynn, pushing the pace ahead. Westland to Zbilic, sails that wide and out, and it will be a goal kick for Campbell Fisher.
Jake, I'm going to go back to our conversation a little bit about how the passes have been on the ground. They're shorter passes. Part of what you're seeing is that Aurora is playing incredibly simple. They're playing what they see. And simple doesn't mean it's easy. It's actually one of the most challenging things to do because you have to do it quicker, which is why it's put so much pressure on this Sioux Falls team. And so I love the fact that that's the tempo and pace and how they've chosen to go after this group.
Savannah nudged off the ball, and it will go for another goal kick for Campbell Fisher. It almost appears that the pace that Aurora is playing at, that's a bit different than what we've seen for most of this season, has caught Sioux Falls off guard early on, as we do have a change first made by Sioux Falls City. Katarina Uschlager will come on in this first half.
Yeah, you can tell the Aurora group is starting to get very familiar with each other, and they've done it. Sometimes traveling on the road early in a season can have its benefits. You get to know your teammates off the field as well as on, and that off the field time is so crucial and important to how you then can continue to grow and build moving forward.
That time, that relationship, something that Joe DeMay has keyed in on as a big factor toward his team's success. This rolled ahead, looking for Wynn, scooped up by Campbell Fisher.
Sioux Falls does a really good job just putting her body between the ball and the attacking player, allowing the goalkeeper to come forward and just grab it.
As much as the conversation has been about what has not gone right offensively for Sioux Falls, one thing that has gone right defensively, Tyrese Zocker, the South Dakota native, she is really locking down that outside as this lifted ahead and nodded away.
I'd like to see Sioux Falls maybe spend a little bit more time on the ball. I know they talked about the transition is going to be where they really want to focus. However, part of who they are as a team is also getting the ball at their feet. And you can tell they're not really comfortable yet in this game. They're still working defensively as a group. Very hard to try to cover that space, but they've hardly spent any time on the ball so far.
The message this week for Sioux Falls, very much so a do not change too much of who we are as far as our identity goes. We just cannot continue to sit back. They are sitting back. Aurora having their way offensively as there is a player slow to get back to her feet. Molly Van Metren still down, and Aurora will clear that out of play.
Yeah, just good sportsmanship there. If you want to play the ball out of bounds, let her get up, figure out, is she good to go? Is she not good to go? Hopefully we'll see the same with Sioux Falls throwing the ball back into Aurora here. Maybe not. I can see Coach Larrick's not necessarily pleased with that. I can understand why. You're clear possession of the ball, play it out of bounds to allow the opponent to get back on her feet, and then you don't get the ball back in the good gesture.
Rapp guides this out wide, it's Wynn. Touched inside, looking for Westland, and thumped away. Out for an Aurora throw. In terms of Sioux Falls wanting to conserve the possession a bit more, like what they traditionally do under a Joe DeMay coach team, how do you do that against an Aurora team that is pressing you so high?
Biggest thing is you got to move the ball, and it can't just be a hope and a prayer lumped ball forward, which is unfortunately, I think a little bit more of what we've seen where players are getting pressure and it's just, hey, first thing I see is a player forward, so I'm just going to play it over the top and hope that they're able to. Unfortunately, a hope and a prayer isn't a game plan. It doesn't allow you to create consistency and predictable situations for your players.
Hey, don't tell Bon Jovi that a hope and a prayer is not a game plan, okay? He would vehemently disagree with you.
I suspect we'll see a couple of adjustments for this Sioux Falls team coming out of the half, so we'll be interested to see what those might be.
Sioux Falls have been content to try to build things out of the back, and in terms of conserving that possession, the other area you have to be careful of walking into, inviting pressure, but inviting too much pressure, and they have fallen too often on the wrong side of that line in this first half, inviting too much pressure, and it's resulted in them spending a lot of time defending.
Absolutely, and I think this is going to be a problem that they're going to have to solve overall. Is, like I said, Aurora's done a great job with their outside backs.
Lifted ahead, it's Mullenmeister. Having a tightrope to touchline. Mullenmeister peels it back, lifts this in. A short header away, and now a decisive clearance from Rami Rapp.
But yeah, Sioux Falls is going to have to figure out the number situation through their midfield, because right now Aurora is overloaded. And again, it's created that numbers problem. And if you're not, unless you have three of the best players in the entire world all playing together, that's a really hard thing to ask from your central midfielder. So in their current shape, they're outnumbered.
Like we just saw on that trip down the pitch as Sioux Falls back on it, they are finding some space in those wider areas. Mullenmeister has had a lot of room to run on the left-hand side. It's just about getting her the ball. Aurora with it now. Lifted ahead, it's Rapp. Rapp holds. Rapp steers it inside. Tavana blocked away. Now Sioux Falls can try to break out. That's short-lived, though. Again, coming back into play, what you talked about, just thumping the long ball forward. The Route 1 style of play has not been a successful recipe in this first half.
Yeah, now as Sioux Falls is getting on the ball, I think they want to take a look at how is Aurora trying to play. Okay, so their outside backs are coming inside. So where is their space that they can go and attack? Well, you're playing with three up front. I'm probably going to want to find my two wide wingers. And that's going to be the space that's going to have to be that outlet pass that they're going to have to find as those outside backs are coming inside from Aurora.
Williams to Rapp, who's taken down, and that will draw a whistle and some jeers from this pro-Aurora crowd here in TCO Stadium. It has been a physical first half. That is already the 7th foul whistled for against Sioux Falls City. Conversely, Aurora up to 4 of their own. Wynn plays it ahead, cleared away from Tavana. Make no mistake about it, this may be the first official regular season meeting between these teams, but due to the success they have had in their respective club histories, this on paper already a heavyweight fight, and the players feeling the weight of that, especially in this charged environment, as Williams will give it back up to Camber Hayes.
Absolutely. Both teams are incredibly competitive. Both teams have a desire and have thus far had a pedigree of winning. So if you look at both Aurora and Sioux Falls coming from the WPSL last year.
Williams, her cross, left flat, falls to Tavana. Tavana saved! What a stop made by Fisher. The second effort fired over the bar.
It's a phenomenal effort from Tavana there, and an unbelievable just natural reaction save. There's nothing else you can do other than put your body in the way. It's really good composure. Unfortunately, just couldn't get it wrapped around.
Campbell Fisher, there's a reason why she was the WPSL Northern Conference Defensive Player of the Year a season ago for this Sioux Falls City side. A fantastic goalkeeper in her own right in the Summit League as Sioux Falls on the move.
As we're closing in on the last 5 minutes of this half, this is going to be really important for Aurora. They've been phenomenal defensively. You don't want to have any mental lapses going into halftime. So just making sure they did a great job. Charlie did a phenomenal job recovering, getting numbers back behind the ball, but being just extra cautious there as you close out the half.
Looking for the give and go back ahead. Boone will just knock that out of play to disrupt the oncoming build for Sioux Falls, who do have a throw in. Sioux Falls are starting to conserve that possession a little bit more over these last 5-6 minutes, and they're doing it by leaning less on those long passes in. This cross whipped ahead and cleared away. Heavy collision as Westland goes down, with frustration starting to boil over a bit for Sioux Falls as they are whistled for their 8th foul.
So if you're going to play long, as Aurora just did in that situation, that's the type of receiving of a pass that I want to see from my number 9, which is that center forward. It's just using your body, basically reverse bear hugging that defender, settling it down, and finding a player underneath you. So really well done from Ava in that situation.
Nadia Cooper stopping the only shot she's faced so far in this first half. Her first save of 2025. Sioux Falls tripped up. Down they go as Haley Christensen taken down, and it's a free kick awarded.
It's a great foul, in my opinion, from Camber Hayes. Your center back carrying the ball forward, not a lot in behind you, but numbers around you. So, yeah, I don't want Sioux Falls to progress without numbers being back, so not a bad foul.
There's the idea in soccer that every foul is bad, right? And sometimes you can creatively use them, like Camber Hayes doing there. Here is Sioux Falls with it. And now we have another whistle. This foul will go against Mariah Wynn.
It's a tactical foul, just like every other sport that does exist, and sometimes that's a great place to give it up. There's still numbers behind you, so you're not risking yourself getting a red card in that situation unless it's something egregious. But half line, no real threat on goal. Numbers can recover. Why not?
A free kick awarded to Sioux Falls City, trying to get their offense going. Just the one shot on target in this first half. Malone lifts it into a crowd, headed toward Nadia Cooper, who records her second stop of the first half.
It's a good flick on from Sioux Falls, and the thing that I love again is Aurora has that higher line, so it's asking a lot from that Sioux Falls attacking player to try to get enough power to redirect that header for something that's going to challenge Nadia there.
These last 10 minutes have been marked by a markedly improved Sioux Falls City side. They're on it again, rolling it ahead, looking for Mullenmeister, and just out of her reach. They have been able to hold on to possession more. Yes, they're utilizing less long passes, but they also just look a little bit more comfortable and are playing more calm in possession.
Well, realistically, fouls disrupt the rhythm of what Aurora's been trying to do as well. So sometimes, yeah, the fouls add up, and you have to be a little bit more cautious as they continue to do. That's a
heavy collision. Heavy collision as Avery Corshing goes down.
No ill intent there as you'll watch in the replay. Ava's battling for the ball. Unfortunately, defender goes airborne, and that's what makes it look a bit worse than what the intent was.
Rather, that is Mo Malone, the California native, a Northern Sun Conference first team pick a season ago for UMary at the Division II level. Malone is still down, and now the official will usher players off the pitch as the training staff checks on Mo Malone.
So you're going to see both coaching staffs here take this moment. It is an important moment. As you're going into the halftime, you want to carry the momentum of being up 1 goal, and Sioux Falls wants to go and equalize. That's a great way to go into halftime for them after struggling a little bit in this first half, building on some of that momentum. So they'd love to see themselves get on the score sheet, but again, Coach Larrick's going to be doing the opposite and getting her group organized to close out the final moments of this half.
Malone is still down as the training staff continuing to check on the status of Mo Malone, the 22-year-old defender out of the state of California. Trainer working on that lower right leg. As it happened in real time, the collision looked heavy on the upper body side, but it's the way she landed awkwardly coming back down.
Yeah, it looks like they're checking out a couple things. So initially it looked like a little bit of the knee, so maybe when she was coming down there, but also you got to worry, did she hit her head on her way down as well? It's a hard one to come into. Both players are playing the ball. Unfortunately, just got airborne and tangled up. Looks like there's a little bit more concern about the head and neck area, so they're going to be cautious about this and make sure that she's getting proper care.
Mo Malone being checked on by the training staff of Sioux Falls City FC after a heavy collision, and the stretcher has been motioned for, as now both teams' training staffs are out on the pitch. This has brought a screeching halt to this first half that had become end-to-end as both teams' attention turns to the health and wellness of Mo Malone.
This is hard. We obviously wish her well and hope everything's okay. It's hard as a player to watch a teammate go through this. It's hard as an opposition to watch anybody go through this. This isn't what you want for anyone.
Joe DeMay walking over and checking on the status of Mo Malone.
These moments are hard, and you've seen recently in this past year with the incident that happened with Savvy King on how that impacts just the collective group. It's not just the coaches having to make adjustments and the players. This is an emotional thing as well. This is your friend, somebody that you've gotten to know, and again, even as an opponent, somebody that you respect for showing up and playing the game that you love as well. So it's definitely a challenging moment.
Malone still down, as now trainers and EMS both on the pitch checking on her. They are trying to get her stabilized before moving her to the stretcher after a heavy collision. Malone has been such a productive player this year for Sioux Falls, making her 5th consecutive start to open the campaign tonight, had played every minute coming into this contest. As this match between Sioux Falls City FC and Minnesota Aurora FC has been brought to a stoppage due to the extended injury break. To check on the status of Mo Malone.
And I appreciate the fact that the Aurora players are trying to create a little bit of a barrier to give a little bit of privacy. Our thoughts definitely go out to her, her team, her family, if they're tuning in tonight.
They do have the neck area of Malone stabilized at the moment as they are moving her over to the stretcher. A very concerning moment, as now Joe DeMay will make the long walk back over from the technical area to continue to assess the status of the injured Mo Malone. They do have Mo Malone shifted over to that board set to put her on the stretcher. The good news is Malone the entire time has been active, moving around, communicating with emergency medical personnel and the training staff.
That's the first thing you want to see. Like, you want to see a movement because that is key to everything. So
they do have Malone lifted up on the stretcher now.
And this is a moment that most people don't talk about, is how do you go from a moment feeling this and watching this and participating in this match to then going right back into the intensity and doing what you're supposed to do as a player? It's really hard to just navigate that switch like a light switch. So we might see a little bit of calm in this next minute as we go into the half. We'll see, but both teams definitely making some adjustments.
We have reached the 45-minute mark of this first half as this injury stoppage continues. They have Mo Malone on the stretcher, continuing to communicate with Joe DeMay, the Sioux Falls City training staff, medical personnel down on the field as well, which is always the #1 sign you look for: attentiveness, communicative ability. Our Sioux Falls City teammates watching on as Mo Malone will be taken off the pitch, and deservedly so, getting a standing ovation from this crowd here at TCO Stadium.
And you can see the movement from her hand there, just signaling, yep, I'm good, kind of thing, just letting everybody know.
A scary moment as Mo Malone, the starting defender for Sioux Falls City, taken off the pitch after a hard collision near this near touchline.
You can see Coach Larry telling her team to drop off a little bit here.
When updates are available, we will bring you those on the status of Mo Malone, if any come available during this match. But at the moment, Malone taken off on the stretcher after the collision. As a result, Izzy Snowden will come on as a first half change in the stead of the injured Mo Malone, and play back underway between Sioux Falls and Aurora FC. 5 minutes of added time at the end of this first 45 minutes. And now with the match back underway, the focus shifts toward how do you regain some of that composure if you're Sioux Falls City, some of that momentum that you started to build prior to that extended injury stoppage.
Yeah, well, it's going to be really interesting because we had about a minute left on the clock when that injury happened, and now we're going to have halftime, and so that's going to be another little bit of a prolonged break. So it will give the group time to collect and figure out, hey, what are the changes that we're going to make going into halftime, and the halftime might be coming at the most opportune time for this team.
Hayes guides this back to Cooper. Under pressure is Nadia Cooper, has to give it away.
Fantastic composure from Nadia, then picks her head up and finds Mariah's feet.
Up ahead, here's Cat Rapp. Trying to progress past the midfield stripe. Aurora do. It's Wynn. Numbers for Minnesota. Wynn rolls it ahead to Westland. Westland lifts it in, and Campbell Fisher will claim that cross.
You can see a little bit about what Ava was trying to do there. She got a little bit too much scoop in that one.
Now Sioux Falls will try to build out from the back. They will have a throw-in. Getting across that midfield stripe has been difficult in this first half for Sioux Falls, but now finding their footing, leading the charge, it's Mullenmeister. Mullenmeister squares right at Nadia Cooper.
You continue to see Aurora's getting not just one player around the ball, but two, at times three, and that's what's really making it hard for Sioux Falls. Mullenmeister does a great job to create this and take the space that's given to her and try to create a chance at goal.
Mullenmeister, the former Northern Conference Offensive Player of the Year in the WPSL last season. Cooper's distribution intercepted. Back on it is Sioux Falls. Now roll back toward goal. Mullenmeister will track this down. Meister gives it up. That's deflected out. It goes for a throw. And Sioux Falls in toward this final third, continuing to get better as this first half is carried on.
Aurora's been really clean this half, and you can see the last couple moments here, really the last 2 to 5 minutes, it's kind of been a little bit slower pace, a little bit slower tempo. Passes aren't quite as clean. And Sioux Falls is looking to capitalize on it.
Funneled back down this near channel. Meister.
It's a great little toe poke. Anybody that tells you a toe poke is not a tackle needs to rewatch that.
Now breaking out is Minnesota. Here's Rapp going at not one, but 2 defenders. Still on it as Cat Rapp, and the whistle will go the opposite direction.
Definitely would have liked the first one on that. If you're Aurora.
Now another heavy challenge. This time it's wind going down, and we have our first booking of the first half. A yellow shown to Sioux Falls City. What a physical first half it's been between Aurora and Sioux Falls. Now 17 combined fouls between these teams, and our first booking.
As we talked about a little bit earlier, those fouls really interrupt the rhythm of what Aurora had been doing. And it's hard to kind of reestablish that time and time again.
Lifted over the top, out of the reach of Cat Rapp. Now Thomas heads it away. Diamond. Looking for the give and go, back to Diamond. Diamond, her cross, back to win, nudged wide. A defensive effort from Cat Rapp, just stuck in there, couldn't tightrope the touchline, however, and it does go out.
It's really a nice little piece of skill, though. Ball might have been over the sideline there, but really just the way in which she gets down for the tackle, back up, and is able to get around and take up on the defender.
Jen Larrick, that's an area that Aurora's head coach says Cat Rapp has grown in, as Wynn back on it. Tries to cut it back inside, and instead it goes out for a corner late in this first half. How quickly Minnesota can turn the field against the grain, and yet here they are with a set-piece opportunity. So dangerous on them. 9 corner goals last season. Spielich lifts this in, headed away. It falls to Rapp. Rapp still on it, back out wide. Spielich over the bar and out. And that is the final act of an eventful first 45 minutes in the books. Aurora, the better team through large stretches, but Sioux Falls getting better as the half went on.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how both teams adjust and adapt going into the second half. Sioux Falls has already made 2 substitutions, so we'll see how Aurora continues to play this, but the fouls have interrupted the rhythm that Aurora has been trying to establish, so hopefully they can get back on that.
An early goal, the difference maker for Minnesota. Aurora fighting off a furious equalization effort late in the first 45 from Sioux Falls. We'll head to break. Aurora on top, 1-0 through 45 minutes of play.
Aurora fans, you're watching the Fox 9 Plus Halftime Report.
I want to welcome you to the Aurora Halftime Report. I'm Tim Blotz. We hope you're enjoying the match so far. The Aurora, they're hosting Sioux Falls City at TCO Stadium right now. So far, pretty good game. They lead 1-0 after the first half of play. Minnesota is looking to stay undefeated on the regular season so far. All right, I want us to talk now about your weekend weather. I know it's Friday. I know you've got tons planned this weekend. So meteorologist Jennifer McDermott joins us now with your halftime forecast.
We had a little bit of a rainy start for us today, and the clouds did stay on top of us throughout majority of the day. However, not a bad night for a soccer game. Tonight, dipping down to a low of 57, partly cloudy, winds from our east at about 5. And then by tomorrow afternoon, forecasting a daytime high of 75 degrees. We could have a few afternoon rumbles, but most of the day, for most of us, looks to be staying on the dry side. The clouds, they've been with us all day long, and they'll continue to stay with us until tonight. We'll have a little bit of a break from that cloud cover, so we'll call it that partly cloudy. And then pausing the clock tomorrow afternoon for your Saturday, it's looking beautiful, mostly sunny. And then there's that very small chance of maybe an afternoon shower or weak rumble trying to join us for our Saturday. By Saturday night, a cold front begins to enter into far western parts of the state. Eventually, this cold front slides over towards the east, bringing in chances for rain and thunderstorms, but mainly by Sunday morning. By Sunday late morning, we get rid of that rain, and then we'll begin to see a little bit of sunshine. So here's our 7-day forecast. 75 tomorrow, small chance of an afternoon rumble. Then we'll have a chance of thunderstorms before sunrise on Sunday. And then Sunday afternoon, small chance of an afternoon pop-up shower or thunderstorm. Monday, 68, cloudy and rainy at times. And then we'll have a nice warm up and a nice stretch of sunshine. Tuesday, mostly sunny, 76. Our next town ball tour on Wednesday with a high of 83. And then Thursday, mostly sunny, 86. Friday, partly sunny with a daytime high of 84 degrees. Our average high is 76. So by mid next week, Tim, we're going to see those temperatures begin to make a big climb.
Yeah, it's looking good. And most importantly, we have got a great night for Aurora soccer out there at 2. Okay, now the Aurora have a brand new chief of staff this season, and she comes from Gotham FC, New York City's NWSL club, with a characteristic that the Aurora have been looking for during the past couple of seasons, and that's a championship pedigree. Our Ahmad Hicks has the story tonight.
You may think it's a Herculean task to bring a championship-winning NWSL executive to manage a team on the rise in the women's soccer world. So you may be surprised when the Aurora's new chief of staff tells you how difficult the decision was.
You know, not that hard.
For Sarah Hassoun, it was destiny that led her to the community-owned club.
I was sitting here and thinking about what the next step in my career was and where I wanted to go next. It really felt like fate in the universe.
Sarah says she took notice of the Aurora from day one, and she wasn't the only one in the world of women's soccer.
Because I have been a fan of Aurora since day one. It certainly, when Aurora came on the scene and announced what they were doing and kind of how they were trying to do it here, everybody in professional women's soccer took notice. Because as I've told people in my network who kind of sit in this space, I don't think a single person asked me, oh, what's Aurora? What are they doing? Every single person was like, oh, that's so cool. I love Aurora. I love what they're doing. That's so exciting. What a cool opportunity.
Right off the bat, this Texas native could tell Minnesota fans bring a different level of intensity.
Even in watching our preseason games, stepping into those for the first time, so it's my first time, you know, physically in the building for an Aurora game, I was blown away by the intensity of the support that every single person walking into that building have. I think your sort of average Aurora fan far surpasses your average fan of any other team.
For the fans, it's not hard to root for a team that's never lost in the regular season. Bringing in winning talent isn't tough when you have an organization as lockstep as the Aurora.
One of the ways that we're able to recruit such high quality talent year after year is the experience that our athletes are having when they're here with us, the level of coaching they're receiving, the level of professionalism and the environment they're experiencing, the way that they are able to grow and develop as players. They're competitive, they want to get better, they want to go back to school every year and have improved and really be stepping up their game.
When it comes to being chief of staff, managing and overseeing the club's day-to-day operations, Sarah has a big vision for the team off the field.
My goal with the team is to make sure that everything we're doing right now, we're doing as well as we possibly can, that we are building an incredibly strong foundation here so that when we figure out what is next for this team, which does have professional ambitions, whether that's, you know, in whatever league that ends up being, that we feel really confident that we are taking the strongest possible base and taking it to that next level.
On the field, there's a much more straightforward goal.
So this season, our goal is to bring home the championship.
Reporting for Fox 9, I'm Ahmad Hicks.
Yeah, so far 4-0, right? Hopefully that's a nice march to that championship this year. I want to thank you so much for joining us during this special Minnesota Aurora cut-in. We're going to get you back out to TCO Stadium here for the second half. Aurora up 1-0 so far. After the game, a reminder that Karen and Jennifer are going to be here with your latest news and a look ahead to those storms possibly rolling in tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the match, everyone.
Eagan, Minnesota. It's halftime between Minnesota Aurora FC and Sioux Falls City FC. A low-scoring, defensive-minded contest through 45 minutes of play. Along with Mandy Pokabratsky, I'm Jake Griffith. Glad to have you with us. Mandy, Aurora making the most of its few opportunities going forward offensively.
Yeah, I think as we come into this next half, it's going to be how are they going to deal with the fouls that have been accumulating over this last part of this first half. So it really disrupted the rhythm. Can they reestablish it? Can they find their footing again? Can they keep the ball moving and create again?
On the subject of rhythm, there toward the end of that first half, Sioux Falls were really starting to put their offense together, turning and tightening the screws. There was an extended injury stoppage that broke the contest up there at the end of that half. How can Sioux Falls recapture that momentum?
I think the biggest thing is they're going to need to figure out how they're going to approach dealing with Aurora's midfield. When Aurora's in possession of the ball, they're getting overloaded, so if they can find a solution for that, they'll have some opportunities to counter.
The word has been patience all evening long for Aurora, but Sioux Falls could stand to do with a little bit more patience, as we saw in that first half a tendency to really thump balls forward into empty areas where there just weren't many options.
Yeah, and as Aurora's kind of occupied, again, their outside backs coming inside, they've started to occupy that space, so they're leaving space out wide. So if Sioux Falls chooses to play a longer ball forward, it needs to be to a targeted player out there because there is space for them to attack. But again, it hasn't quite been purposeful yet.
If you're Aurora, how do you buckle down those wide areas while still maintaining that rigidness in the middle defensively?
They did a really good job being clean in the first half. Part of it's just being aware in those transition moments. You have to get pressure on the ball right away. That is crucial to not allow Sioux Falls out of that space and to find that early access ball where you aren't occupying.
The transition moment has been a strength of Aurora's this season. Already 5 counter-attacking goals, 4 for Minnesota Aurora FC, who own the 1-0 lead as we get set to start half number 2. Sioux Falls looking to claw their way back into this one. They did generate 6 shots, half of which going on target. All 3 of those shots on target coming within those last 15 minutes, really underscoring the difference in this Sioux Falls attack in the final 15 versus the first 30.
Well, and you had to look at how many of those also came off of set pieces. So dead ball situation and moments. So this is Aurora, like, again, giving up some fouls in the middle of the field, not as big of a deal. The second you start getting closer and closer to your own goal, though, becomes a lot more dangerous. They're able to get numbers up higher around the box and crowd goalkeeper. Things can happen when you do that. Looks like we're going to have maybe a change or two coming from the Aurora side here. Evelyn Calhoun coming in. And perhaps
one change made by Aurora at the halftime break. The aforementioned Evelyn Calhoun will come on. Sioux Falls counters with a change of their own. Lulu Moreno, the Texan, will come on for her first appearance of the night. Jaden Rowe sounds the whistle, and we're back underway inside TCO Stadium for half number 2.
So we see Sioux Falls coming out already again as they did in the first half, getting numbers higher. And if you're not going to be clean with the distribution, this is what can happen. Lead to a quick counter.
Uschlager with the interception. You want to talk about a goal scorer. 8 goals a season ago for Uschlager, but now on the move is Aurora. Slipped ahead, it's Westland. Whipped inside, diving header away from Moreno. Already these first 45 seconds been very end-to-end. Action starting to open up. As Sioux Falls with it now.
This is what's going to happen when you get caught in a transitional game. Both teams are going to have moments where if they're going to fly forward in that transitional moment but not take care of the ball, you're going to face the opposite because you've left yourself exposed in the back.
When the transitional element of the game gets brought up alongside it, a lot of times you hear coaches talk about the phrase rest defense. For those that don't know, what is rest defense and how important is it?
Yeah, it's the shape that you're going to take when you're in possession of the ball. And why is it important is because it's setting you up structurally to be prepared for the loss of possession, so you can be quicker in the transitional moments. It's not going to be perfect every time, but if you can at least have some predictability to it, you're able to make better decisions and close space quicker.
Boone will steer this back to Nadia Cooper, who made 3 first-half saves. 4 saves in the first half from Campbell Fisher as Bielich loses her footing, gets it right back. Here's Wynn. Wynn trying to lead Westland into space and does. It's Ava Westland on her right. Deflected in front. Tavana peels it back. Can't get a shot off. Still on it is Tavana. Booted forward to Calhoun. It will carry him across the end line, and Aurora win a corner.
So if you go back and watch a replay from that ball from Mariah into Ava, one of the things you're going to see is Mariah plays a little bit more of a straight ball because Ava's making a slanted run. That's one of the things that can be really challenging for players to understand, is that as you're making a slashing run going toward the sideline, you want to lead them into that space and allow them to get their body around the ball.
Williams, line drive inside the 18, pinballing in front, cleared away. Frantic moments early in the half, and they continue for Sioux Falls. Wrap out wide, Tavana inside, wanting cat wrap. A telegraphed pass.
And unfortunately, that pass is behind all of the runners. You want to lead the runners in. So maybe just looking at that moment there, Ava again does a good job posting up, finding a player facing forward. They get the ball out wide. Now you want to lead your players into that because defenders are also then running towards their own goal, and all it takes is a deflection.
Quick toss back in from Zbilic, gets the play back underway. Aurora having no shortage of opportunities in these first handful of minutes. Now on it, though, is Sioux Falls. Knifing inside, cutting to her right. It's Christensen, tries to center, deflected off the bar and out. Second ball served in, fired over.
That first strike on goal, though, what a phenomenal strike.
Just inches too high, otherwise Sioux Falls are equal. Sioux Falls with the throw. Now here's Williams. Dancing around defenders. Now Williams gives it up to Westland. Early on in that first half, we saw Aurora using this, plays, passes to these touch lines to pull defenders out of position, and they're back on it now. Rolled central by Wynn. A short clearance, good enough to quell the danger, at least for the moment, for Sioux Falls, as Christensen will pick the pieces up.
I think a little bit of the difference going into the second half right now, Aurora's still finding a couple of those combinations, but the passes just haven't quite been as clean as what we saw in the first half.
Training House, with a flagship location in Eagan on the Minnesota Vikings campus, is an elite athletic performance and recovery philosophy that is unparalleled in the Twin Cities. Utilizing innovation, science-based methods, our industry-leading team of experts work together to form a personalized approach for the athlete. Collectively, we establish a foundation for athletic performance that promises to challenge, inspire, and produce real results. To learn more and find locations, visit traininghouse.com. Zbilic will run that ball down.
Again, Aurora hasn't had much of the ball. I love that Jelena just is patient. Just put your foot on top of it. Let the game breathe a little bit. Let your teammates gain their shape. You're also going to attract defenders higher up the field, which can expose some space that they want to attack in behind.
Rami Rapp just running out of room on this near touchline. Change of possession will occur. We've seen an aggressive, front foot-minded approach to this second half for Sioux Falls. It's making Minnesota Aurora a bit uncomfortable as Sioux Falls City on it now. Uschlager looking for the cross, whips it in. Hayes intercepts but can't clear it. As Christensen was knifing toward goal, out it goes for a Nadia Cooper goal clearance. Again though, we see, like what we saw at the end of the first half, Sioux Falls putting together very solid runs into the final third.
They've been a little bit cleaner defensively up front, and that pressure that they're putting now on the Aurora defenders is creating some harder passes, and that's where they're able to jump a little bit of those and take advantage, and now they're attacking going forward versus always just facing their own goal.
Now we have a whistle as a foul will go against Aurora. Free kick given to Sioux Falls. The physicality also a theme that has carried over from half number one that saw 17 combined fouls. Snowden gets play back underway. Bouncing around, Cooper will race out and claim that.
Nadia's distribution with her hands has been so fantastic tonight. So it's good to see her get it, look quickly, see what's on, and play. It's been very sharp.
Calhoun. Out wide, Hayes. Aurora will have a throw in. Still underscoring, though, the issue for Minnesota, just having trouble connecting passes, getting forward, whether it's centrally or on the wide flanks. Sioux Falls, in that halftime break, made a real recommitment to defense. As Cat Rapp twisting and turning around. Zbilic fires it ahead. Rami Rapp in behind. Rapp cuts it back. It's cleared away.
And one of the adjustments it looks like Sioux Falls has really made is they've gone a little bit more man-to-man. So 1v1 on every Aurora midfielder, just making sure they're accounting for those players inside.
Moreno steps up, disrupts that pass, will clear it out. Aurora with the throw. The man-to-man style of defending, that's not typically something you see a lot of at this level.
Yeah, at this level it's not. In college, it 100% is incredibly commonplace. It's an easy system to instill because it's a very basic, hey, this is your player, you follow her, and that's your responsibility. I love what Coach Larrick has done and really focused on zonal defending and making it a collective, cohesive team activity. And it doesn't rely on just a single player doing their job, it's the whole collective group.
I got two so far.
Deflected back to Calhoun. All over it was Haley Christensen, the South Dakota State Jackrabbit. Now Uschlager. Looks up ahead. There's Avery Korshing. Korshing lifts it in. That's a player that we highlighted at the top of this broadcast, shifting her forward, trying to get more attacking mindedness, but Aurora have done a good job of coating her well defensively. She has been relatively neutralized out on the right flank.
Yeah, with them not spending much time on the ball, I mean, that's the best way to neutralize an attacking player is don't let them have opportunities. So as you can see, Sioux Falls getting more and more time on the ball. We'll see how Aurora deals with it because she's going to be a player they're going to find.
Rapp gives it up to Williams. Plenty of space to move out wide for Annie Williams. Guided ahead.
It's 2v2 on the backside, but with how much space she had in front of her, I almost would have liked her to continue to drive forward into that space. Not so fast that she can't change her decision, but continue to carry until a defender decides to step to her, because you're almost even numbers in the box, so you're going to create an advantage then centrally.
Mariah Wen whistled for a foul, and play quickly restarted by Sioux Falls. Some issues with the distribution from Campbell Fisher. A rare mistake from Sioux Falls City in this second half. One that has been so good from the way they've come out from jump at the halftime whistle.
A little bit of pressure from your forward can do that. So it, again, forces the goalkeeper to have to make a quicker decision, and maybe not the best decision.
There's Westland on it. Wanting to cross, rolls it inside. A short clearance away. Pressure collapsing in on Sioux Falls. What a find. Given back up. Mullenmeister.
Now Aurora is going to want to take some space back again. So again, team activity. They're going to push every line up. Try to get some more pressure in and around the ball here.
Too heavy of a touch. It's won back by Williams. On the move is Minnesota. Rapp shifting to her left. Given up to Calhoun. Back out wide, it's Williams. Williams whips it in. Glancing header back toward the far post. Not enough on it from Wynn.
It's hard to do a lot with some of those more floated balls, because you're having to put a lot more then into redirecting it, versus if it comes in with some pace, all you got to do is just direct it towards your target.
That's the first time in this entire half, and since early on in the first half, that Aurora has been able to, with some success, utilize those switching passes and open up space on the wide areas.
Yeah, so you'll see it here, and that's the importance of using your central players. It's just inviting them to collapse, and then you're going to go wide again, and now you're seeing a little bit more success.
Rolled ahead, Westland toward goal. Can't put it on target.
Sioux Falls has been quicker to close space, which is why it's so important that Aurora continues to move the ball. And that's why those 1- and 2-touch passes have been successful. And sometimes when you're taking more time, that third touch really puts you into trouble, because they are getting players around the ball.
It goes back to the conversation we had in that first half about walking that line between inviting pressure and inviting a little too much pressure. Aurora has invited perhaps a bit too much pressure over these last 30-35 minutes. Quickly given up. Here's Ulschlager. Oh, we have another whistle.
Yeah, he was given advantage there, but that slide came from a little bit too behind, according to our center official.
Aurora now whistled for their 11th foul. That will be the first booking against Minnesota Aurora, as Westland goes into the book of Jaden Rowe. Talk about a busy guy our center referee is this evening. He has been trying to keep this contest as on the straight and narrow as possible.
You know, oftentimes I'll say we don't want referees to be the highlight of the show. However, he's had to be involved in this one.
First ever regular season meeting, first ever meeting period of consequence between these sides who have faced in exhibition play, but it's very clear no love lost early in this series.
That's what makes for such a fun rivalry game. So teams that want to come out, they want to compete. You want to play against teams that are going to challenge you. That's what makes it fun and enjoyable as both a coach and a player.
Throw in finds Ulschlager. Can't hold on to it, but it's nudged across that touchline, and Aurora, a bit of consternation from their captain, Jelena Zbilic, as it is a throw given to Sioux Falls. Now consecutive throw-ins. Just the simple switch that Sioux Falls has made in terms of being a bit more conservative in how often they hold on to the ball, that has completely changed the complexion of this match. Midway through that first half, made a real effort to hold on to it more as Christensen knifes her way in. Lifted out wide. Mullenmeister trying to track it down and does. And Mullenmeister's cross. That goes sailing behind the net. It's out for a goal kick. The 180 this Sioux Falls offense has done over these last 35-40 minutes, it's given more confidence to them to be able to do things like this, shift higher into a line and high press more.
Absolutely. I don't think it was a lot of confidence that they had. It's not something you want to start a game 1-0. However, I think, again, the more you get on the ball, the more comfort you build into a game. So the fact that they're getting on it a lot more often now, players feel more involved. It's hard to feel involved when you're not touching the ball.
Aurora will make 2 changes in this second half as Austin Miller will come on for the first time tonight. Tony Harai will join her, fresh off a goal-scoring effort in the win against Chicago Dutch Lions. Summer Diamond and Rami Rapp will exit. Jen Larrick making a bit of an offensive-minded change there by bringing in the young Harai, who will get her college career going at Utah State.
When Aurora's been most successful is when they've been attacking and able to occupy space higher up the field. So it's not a surprise. You don't want to just sit back for the next 30 minutes in front of your own box and defend. So I like that she's making that change.
Whipped ahead. It's Westland. Westland can't corral it in, and it does go out for another corner. Third corner of the night for Minnesota. As Austin Miller, rather, Jelena Zbilic will trot over to this near flag. Does have a short option in. It's Mariah Wynn. Aurora do have a set-piece goal to their credit this season. Zbilic lifts this into a crowd, knotted down, deflected away from goal. It pops back out, second ball served in, and overhit by Zbilic, out for a goal kick.
I don't mind a look to the back post again. You have numbers there. Unfortunately, it just carries a little bit too far.
Aurora going up early on Sioux Falls in the first half, thanks to Natalie Tavana's second goal of the season. That's been enough so far for Minnesota, who have now weathered a significant spell of extended pressure from Sioux Falls. But here they are again. Westland, defender goes to ground. Well timed by Moreno. Cat Rapp just running out of room. Change of possession will occur via that throw in. This Sioux Falls defense so markedly improved from what we saw in the opening 15 minutes. But a careless pass. Calhoun, Harai, trying to roll it through, wanting win. Out comes Campbell Fisher. Wow, that's a brave play.
It is, and that's something that a goalkeeper has to dominate, though. You can't rely on your defender to come out in that situation. If you do, you're going to be stuck on your touch line, and ball's going in the back of the net most likely.
Whether it's claiming crosses or plays like that, Campbell Fisher doing everything she can to keep Sioux Falls City in this contest. With 4 first-half saves. Has been considerably less busy in this second half. Aurora still seeking their first shot on target of the second 45 minutes. Williams, the long throw in, deflected back to Cooney. Harai takes a deflection into the gloves of Campbell Fisher.
Yeah, there's been a little bit more energy since the subs were brought on. It's been an intense match, so a lot of games for Aurora over the last few weeks as well. So good to get some fresh legs out onto the field. A little bit more pressure defensively. You can see numbers getting around the ball, which is translating into them getting some opportunities in front of goal now.
There's Charlie Boone, works it forward. And we're doubling up Evelyn Calhoun. Out of a crowd comes Cat Rapp. There's her eye. Shifting to her left, has it go from distance. A straightaway save made by Campbell Fisher, and right on cue, the first shot on target of the half for Aurora.
I love that there's continuing to be movement from the front players from Aurora. It's not just about making the run, it's continuing to make the run. If you don't get the ball, you still have to make the run again, because you change how defenders interact, not with just yourself, but also the ball carrier. So that run from Austin Miller is what creates space for that shot.
Space ahead of Charlie Boone, continuing to carry it on. Not on the same page as Westland. The clearance, though, deflected back to her. Giving up, Westland. Whipped back outside, Westland plays it in. Cleared away once more. And now we will have two changes made by Sioux Falls. Initially looked like Aurora was going to take that throw, but the official stopping play as Tess French and Mia Bosch, both second half changes made for Sioux Falls, hoping their late substitutes have the same energy impact that we've seen from these two late additions onto the pitch for Aurora, who do have the throw in.
Well, coincidentally, you'll see one of those substitutions also happened to end up on the side where Aurora just substituted as well.
Again, the tactical chess match between Jen Larrick and Joe DeMay as that throw finds the feet of her eye. Hacked away for a Sioux Falls clearance. What a nifty play by Zbielich. Quinn tries to guide it ahead, deflected out. Aurora's offense continuing these last 5 minutes to find good options, good opportunities, and good space going forward. All because they're being a bit more decisive with their passing. Zbielich taken down. This will be a free kick.
Yeah, she's going to have to be cautious there. She's already on a yellow, so if I'm Aurora, I don't mind going after her a little bit. Take her on. She's got to be cautious defensively to not end up on a second yellow or a red, which results in another red.
One of the missing faces in this Aurora lineup. You talk about red cards. Sage Wimes, who was shown a straight red in the 4-0 win against Chicago Dutch Lions. Wimes, such a creative, active player up front. Williams gets play back underway off the free kick. Zbielich tries to serve it inside. Overhit on that ball, whipped ahead.
Unfortunately, I don't mind the idea because it gets the initial defenders to step up, which means you have space to create a run in behind, but it just didn't seem like the Aurora players were prepared to bounce their runs back and then back in.
No clearance from Campbell Fisher. Calhoun tries to clear it away, but here is Sioux Falls. Rolled ahead, wanting Christensen. Christensen forcing the issue, and Cooper will come out and lunge on it. As much conversation as we've had about the offenses tonight, this very much has been a defensive-minded contest, and it all starts in net with these two extremely brave goalkeepers who, by the way, have also been very busy this evening, each with 4 saves.
Yeah, the first thing I'll say is I love having a goalkeeper that can play with their feet. However, the first and foremost, their primary job is shot stopping. I need you to protect that space between the posts. That space is everything. That's what you were looking to attack all day, every day. So that is their first and primary responsibility. Distribution comes as a beautiful second.
Too long of a pass for Aurora. Throw in from Sioux Falls. Pouncing on it, though, is Harai. Harai knifing in. It's Harai! Deflected on its way through. A corner one.
just an incredible individual effort. Great control. Well done to keep her balance as best she can to get that shot off, and then unfortunate for the deflection, but
it's plays like that that underscore why she was the U.S. National ODP Team MVP in her prep days. It wins a corner for Aurora, their 5th. Zbielich will pull the strings. Zbielich drops this in front. What a grab! Campbell Fisher climbing the ladder through a crowd.
Both goalkeepers have shown that they're willing and able, very capable of coming out and snagging that. So on the next corner, it might be worth seeing just pulling that ball out just a little bit further, forcing Campbell to stay on her line and in between the posts.
Looking for the combination play out wide, able to tightrope that touchline as Sioux Falls. Now thumped ahead, but too much weight behind that pass. Out it goes for an Aurora throw. Minnesota, these last 10-15 minutes of this second half, they've really regained that identity we saw in the first 20 minutes, and it has resulted in several counter-pressing opportunities.
Yeah, the biggest thing is there's no game that's going to be perfect. There's always going to be moments that you can improve, but can you weather the storm? And so part of that is they've shown thus far that they've been able to and regained a little bit of the composure and can attack again. And now can they keep this momentum building?
Here's Miller. Miller looking ahead. Calhoun. Fighting through challenges is Evelyn Calhoun. Shoveled out wide. It's Wynn. Cuts it back inside. Here's Calhoun. Still Calhoun now.
It's a good recovery for Mariah there. Just want to keep this ball moving now. So that's the second time Evelyn's gotten caught with the ball under her feet. We want to keep that ball moving. Sioux Falls has done a great job getting bodies around the ball, and that's where Aurora finds successes, with the ball moving.
That's why this second half and large stretches of the tail end of that first half have been so tight, because the ball work hasn't been as crisp and decisive enough. Not moving it fast enough, but moving it ahead is Ava Westland.
And we saw Charlie Boone go on a little bit of a run there. Kat just holding back a little bit to protect that space that Charlie left.
Helped back onto Rapp. Here is the aforementioned Charlie Boone. Aurora looking for a whistle. They won't get it from Jaden Rowe. Now there is a whistle, and Kat Rapp will be called for a foul. Jen Larrick coming off that win against RKC Third Coast. She really lauded the performance of Kat Rapp. Had 2 goals in that win, but things didn't come as easily as Kat Rapp would like, mainly because RKC really packed it in the middle, congested things. And Larrick said she was so proud of the way Kat Rapp responded. And the fact that she was mad at a 2-goal performance shows you how much of a competitor she is. We're seeing it on display tonight. Not having an impact offensively, but doing it on runs like that, getting stuck in defensively.
Central midfielders especially want to be on the ball, want to have space, want to go create. And you've seen it from Kat time and time again. She's so good with the ball at her feet. And that's the position you want her to be in. You want her to be able to create going forward and be able to take chances. And so understandably, when you're not feeling like you're getting a lot of that, it can be frustrating as a player. But to be able to battle through that frustration and turn it into something positive is what I can imagine Coach Larrick was proud of.
Kat Rapp at the collegiate level, going from the SBC, the Sun Belt Conference, to Kentucky, where she will transfer for her upcoming collegiate season. As here is Minnesota Aurora and the aforementioned Kat Rapp. That's cleared out by Moreno, out for an Aurora throw.
And unlike the first half now, this switch, if Aurora is able to create this switch early, there's space to go 2v1 against their Sioux Falls outside back. It's just the pace in which and the cleanliness of the pass.
Miller battling through challenges, draws a whistle. That will be a free kick for Minnesota. all evening long, as a yellow card will come out of the pocket of Jaden Rowe. Third booking of the evening. All evening long, though, even when the offense has not been clicking like the way they want it to, Aurora have still been able to find themselves in advantageous positions by drawing fouls and putting pressure on Sioux Falls.
And learning to have different ways to attack teams is going to be important as this season continues, as you're getting towards the business end of the season, because one way in which you're able to do things consistently might not work in one of those next matches. And so being able to build off of that is really important.
Williams curls it in. Now hacked away by Sioux Falls. As much in these last 20 minutes that Aurora has been able to regain the identity they opened this contest with, Sioux Falls has started to shift back into those bad habits, not holding on to the ball. Up ahead now, looking for Westland. What a challenge applied by Moreno, and now bodies flying all over.
Annie does a phenomenal job to drive inside. She actually ends up beating 3 players. I just wish she would have been able to see the player wide right, who was wide open with so much green space out in front of her.
Lulu Moreno, the midfielder, playing in a defensive role as a substitute in this second half. She has done such an outstanding job on that outside right-hand side of really preventing much coming her way. Her and Mariah Wynn have been locked in a battle, as that's out for a Sioux Falls throw-in. The aforementioned Moreno, product of Davis and Elkins at the D2 level, quickly tosses it back in.
I think that speaks a lot to her soccer IQ and understanding positioning and being able to read the game. That's a phenomenal ball. That's the ball we were looking for the last time. So let's see if we can go 2v1. And this is what we want to continue to see, attacking the backside of those defenders.
Here's Harai out wide. Harai stutters on her right, lifts it in! Cooney Harai has doubled the advantage on a rocket for Aurora. 2-0.
This is just an absolutely sensational strike on goal. Just the composure with the ball at her feet, 3 defenders in front of her. So we'll see here, again, those 3 defenders, but to be able to pick her head up and place that into the top corner is just a phenomenal strike. What a finish.
A second goal found on the season for Cooney Harai, and a second found in this match for Aurora in stunning fashion.
Now we'll get to see how Sioux Falls responds. There's still plenty of time left. They've been able to create a little bit more this half, but they're going to have to commit numbers forward.
You look at the resume of the Boise, Idaho native Cooney Harai, and the goal-scoring numbers speak for themselves. 18 goals scored as a senior in high school. This worked out wide by Sioux Falls. Wynn steps up, applies the pressure, and now Wynn ridden down.
I think she's lucky not to be sent off after that one. I don't know if this is a conversation for me. I think that's a pretty blatant foul in that situation.
Meanwhile, Cat Wrap down on the Aurora touchlines, having her arm wrapped up.
Yeah, that turf can definitely scrape you up.
Ulschlager was the player whistled for the infraction. This play back underway. Lansing header back on from Cat Wrap. Wrap still battling with Lulu Moreno. That has turned into quite the fascinating battle on the outside as it's guided out.
That pressure That pressure from Mariah, just forcing Moreno to have to make a decision. That's what matters. So again, it's high enough pressure that she has to make a decision. It's not just Ab kind of there shadowing where she can just play backwards. She puts her under such pressure that that's her option.
Long throw in, now whip back Miller. Goes high over the bar and out. Aurora, this offense, though, in this second half, continuing to ask questions of Sioux Falls by using combination passing.
Absolutely. I don't mind that at all. Again, Ava has shown that she can hold up play. It's a fantastic layoff. I don't mind that Austin Miller takes a look right away at goal. From the space that she's at there, I would have her have it again.
Sioux Falls, meanwhile, they have to feel frustrated with the way this contest has gone. From the 25th minute on to about the first 15 minutes of this second half, they controlled the tempo and the possession of this match, yet nothing to show for it on the scoreline. As this whipped ahead, Austin Miller now on it. Miller turns, guides it out wide. Nudged down by Harai, falling to Wynn, pinballing around. Wynn still looking for it, and it forces an emergency clearance. How about this Aurora offense?
Well, and I think that shows the value of some tactical changes. We saw where Sioux Falls was starting to build and find success and momentum. And how does Aurora disrupt that? They make a couple substitutions and changes, a couple different player personalities than what we had seen previously. And that has changed the momentum going into this game. That goal brings energy and revitalizes defensively, making sure pressure is getting there.
Two changes set to come on for Sioux Falls. Riley Haldeman, a South Dakota midfielder, joined by Yuri Fuji, 14 starts a season ago at Southern Utah. Aurora will have the throw late in this contest. There was a goal from Natalie Tavana in the first half. That held up for so long until the 78th minute when Kuni Harai doubled the scoring. And that hacked away for a clearance. It really does underscore the way this contest has gone, that Aurora has been able to bookend this performance with goals. The first 15 minutes dominated by the way Aurora was able to pin Sioux Falls City back. And then in these final 15 minutes, they picked right up what we saw in those first 15 minutes, and they're rewarded with another goal.
And I think this is going to be the important aspect, though, is closing this game out. They've done so well.
Miller from distance goes skipping wide. It's a goal kick.
And one of the things that I didn't touch on the first half, and Camber Hayes just did it again, but it's the little feint of, I'm going to look one way to get you to slide and then play the opposite way. And there's so much value in that. Not a lot of that is talked about, and it might not seem important, but it shifts an entire defensive unit. And that's how you can continue to build and create.
Nodded back forward for Sioux Falls. Just one shot on target in this second half for Sioux Falls, despite in the first 20-25 minutes having the lion's share of the possession. It goes back to a conversation that we've had off air so much about being purposeful with that possession, just not picking their spots going forward properly. It's also been hampered by poor passing, like what we see now, that's allowed Aurora to get out on the counter. Lifted ahead, it's a foot race. Ava Westland!
Oh, and I know she's going to be so frustrated with herself after that one. It's a fantastic run. Unfortunately, just gets a little bit under it, but she'll capitalize on it the next time.
Aurora continuing to find loads of space in behind. One of the biggest reasons, now that we are in this late stage of this contest, Sioux Falls, they have no choice. They have to continue to send numbers forward, and that is resulting, because of that gamble, when Aurora gets on the counter, they're essentially at Sioux Falls backline immediately.
Yeah, and again, it's going to open up Sioux Falls for sure, but are you playing for a loss? Are you going to play for just minimizing the goal differential? Like, what are you really kind of trying to do here with the last 5 minutes on the clock?
Picked up by Annie Williams. Well, the real task begins, trying to clear the danger. A flubbed clearance from Williams. Back to her from Spilic. And that lifted away from pressure. Cleared out of play. Aurora will make a quartet of changes. Bjorkman Tracy, Casey Laurie, Elizabeth Overberg, Asa Conte, Angela Gutierrez. Once again, would like to remind everybody that math is not my strong suit. That is 5 players and not 4.
It's okay. We got about 4 or 5 minutes left.
It's been a long day. And who likes math anyway, right?
As long as you're always +1 in my book, offensively, defensively, it's all the math I need.
See, sports math makes sense to me, right? It's easy. You get into these nonsensical math conversations. There's letters involved in this. Leave me out of it. I was a writer and a talker growing up, and that is what I will be to the day I die. Here is Sioux Falls.
And this is a good experience again. Like, you're getting more players minutes. It's not just that we're just going to finish out as is. It's, hey, you know what? Let's continue to build players into the season.
Asa Conte with it now. Some pressure here for Aurora, having to clear it away from potential danger. Now a whistle sounds from Jaden Rowe.
Coach Larrick's going to want to be really clean in these last few moments. It's important to close games out. You do take that momentum with you, and this is a heavy match week for this Aurora team. Tomorrow they're back at training, then another match day, a couple more trainings, and then it's another match day on Thursday.
Officially just shy of 5,000 in attendance tonight at TCO Stadium. 4,783 in attendance for Aurora's second home match of the 2025 season. Headed back out by Harai. Consecutive throws coming. Now Williams trying to muscle Sioux Falls off the ball, and does. Whether it's this crowd, just shy of 5,000, as Cooper looks to distribute it away, or what we saw in Annapolis earlier this week with over 9,000 in attendance for the Annapolis Blues USL W contest. There's no doubt about it that not just at the highest level of soccer in this country, but at really any level, there is a real appetite for high-level women's soccer, like what we're seeing on display from these two teams.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things is how those teams connect to their community. And I think obviously Aurora is a phenomenal example, because Aurora's community owned. And so people have a desire to be here. They want to see this group grow and compete and win. But it's just, they feel a part of it. And I think that's one thing that's been really phenomenal about this organization, is they invite you to be a part of this organization. They invite you to speak what's important. That's where we see our Women of Inspiration night as well. This was all stuff that was voted on by community owners of what they want. It's for community, by community.
Worked ahead, looking for Gutierrez. Gutierrez!
It's a cheeky little handball.
Took a little deflection off the arm, and that will draw a whistle from Jaden Rowe. Much like Aurora, Sioux Falls as well, up in South Dakota, have done an excellent job of finding ways to connect with their community. It helps as well when these two teams, like Sioux Falls, like Aurora, do have consistent success. But regardless of the success, we see people have an appetite for wanting to be a part of environments like this. There's Aurora on it. It's Kuni Harai.
I think part of it has something to be said about, there's a platform now. Players are actually able to be seen. And I think that's what increases that appetite that you're talking about. It was so hard to access women's sports, women's soccer in general for such a long time. And now we get to see more and more of it. And now people want to go out. They want to support these teams. They want to cheer them on.
There is a whistle for a foul against Sioux Falls. Taylor Thomas, the former Dayton Flyer and current Florida Gulf Coast midfielder, whistled for an infraction. Aurora will have a free kick from an inviting position here.
I expect they will take their time. No problem standing over the ball right now. 3 minutes of stoppage time. Not in any rush.
In a similar spot to the free kick goal they've scored already once. Bjorkman Tracy. Right idea. A little overhit as it goes out.
Yeah, it's not a bad look at goal. You have numbers on the backside. Aurora has shown they can be dangerous with some of those glancing headers, so maybe it's put it at the back post to oncoming runners.
Sioux Falls can't clear it away. It's a throw in. Calhoun steps in front. And now we'll play this to the back to Casey Laurie. Aurora's attention shifts to their Sunday fixture with RKC Third Coast that officially will be a rematch from the 4-1 win earlier this year. As Sioux Falls will clear it away again toward Ulschlager. Now Gutierrez boots it ahead.
Ava just giving herself a little flick.
Bjorkman Tracy back out wide. Now Laurie rolls it ahead. Westland, Miller, deflected, cleared away.
I would have loved to see Austin take at least a touch there. That's a big ask to hit that type of ball first time. There's a lot of pace on the pass coming back, which was necessary. So take that nice little touch, set yourself up, have a strike on goal.
Our star of the match, presented by the Minnesota Star Tribune, Kuni Harai. A magnificent strike that will ultimately, if this result holds, go into the books as the match winner, as Williams sidestepping challenges now. Williams on her right.
Two players I think have made a massive difference today. Annie Williams on the ball right now, and Yelena, who's on the bench at the moment, getting a much-deserved sub for the night.
Williams heading for the corner, and there's the whistle from Jaden Rowe. Full time has been reached in Eagan, and the win streak has been run to 5 to open 2025. A 2-0 win for Minnesota Aurora over Sioux Falls. Clinical performance.
Absolutely, and this is just the first of 3 matchups for these two teams, so we'll see how it goes.
We'll head to break and return to TCO Stadium to break it all down.